What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. In today's video, we are jumping into Green Lantern War Journal issue number 9 as we continue on with John Stewart. There is an army that is searching for him. These undead creatures are coming from the Dark Star. John and his new allies are doing everything they can to prevent these things from coming out of the Dark Star and overrunning the universe. While he battles on this front, we have Lantern Shepherd. He's discovering the shocking truth of the ancient Dark Star of the Fin. So make sure you guys have subscribed to the channel, make sure that you like this video, and with that being said, let's dive into this breakdown. Alright gang, so as we pick up with this issue, we are picking up on Earth in Guy Gardner's apartment. Shepard has found the Book of Oa, asking the book, where is John Stewart? It doesn't say anything. Now Guy is trying to let him know that this thing's not a fortune teller. It's a history book. It may not know where John Stewart is, but you can continue to ask it questions till you get the answer that you're looking for. So when asking about the Radiant Dead, the Book of Oa knows nothing of this. When asked about the Revenant Queen, the book also doesn't know anything about it. But when he asked the question about the earliest mention of the Dark Stars, this is what takes us down a history lesson. Before the time of lanterns or manhunters, the ancestors of the Guardians searched for a power that would bring order to the universe. One Maltusian expedition traveled deep into uncharted systems. They were investigating a gravitational anomaly with no apparent source. And when they found the anomaly and they approached, they passed through a veil of dark matter. Here, they discovered a city in the stars, a silent monument to a fallen god, to a fallen goddess. And tending this is a lonesome watchkeeper. Now, the captain of the ship obviously wanted to try to take this power for his own, but the watchkeeper told them that this was forbidden and turned them away. That this city was sacred, that it must never be desecrated, lest the will of the elder god be awakened. But of course, the captain came back with a bigger force. They defeated and imprisoned the watchkeeper, and this sacred city now belonged to them. But in the crypt of the fallen goddess, a light appeared and it began to grow. A cold, otherworldly light that would become to known as the name, the Dark Star of Fin. This is what picks us up with John Stewart. As they observe the Dark Star, they all try to get to hiding, that they need to get underground before the Dark Star flares again. But as they're evacuating everybody, we see that one of their own fighters is about to turn, that he is turning Fin. He is becoming one of them. The light from the Dark Star, it is poisoning all of them. In time, every single one of them will turn if they stay under the light of the Dark Star. And once they turn, they sabotage everything. They signal the riders to where they are. This is what it is to live here. That if they don't leave this man here, everybody will die. And so while they leave him behind, we pick up with Shepard still doing his history lesson. Now the Maltusians, they decided that they were going to ignore the Watchkeeper's warning, and they were gonna mine this city for its precious stones. When held by one of strong mind, the stone responded to the commands of the wielder, transforming their flesh into living conduits of light and will. They used it to fashion mighty tools. The palindrome, the gauntlet, the helm, the belt. With these tools, these explorers became heroes for a time, using their newfound power in service of order. But they would soon learn that theirs is not the only will that commands this light. Within the light, they had awakened something ancient, something sentient, something far too powerful to control. The legend of the Knights of the Dark Star grew. The Dark Star itself had also grown, brighter than any star, yet as dark as a shroud. The immortal Watchkeeper had warned them. The terrible will that had been housed in the Queen's tomb the will of her father, the fallen god of gods. And when they desecrated this city, that will was poisoned by his grief, by his fury, his need to punish the trespassers. The Dark Star Knights lost control of their powers, became a conduit of a dimension not of will and light, but of chaos and madness. And in an attempt to control this terrible power, the captain opened the Queen's crypt, claimed the vessel of Olgren's will, from which the Dark Star had sprung, a Queen's ring. With the captain's dying stroke, she brought the sacred city to ruin, and her living corpse became the weapon of Olgren's wrath. As we pick back up with Jon Stewart, as he talks to the people, he tries to let them know, by law specifically, that this running, this hiding, this isn't winning, but they also don't have the people nor the resources to fight this forever. So there's gotta be an end plan. Asking Bylaw what is on the other side, what is through the Dark Star. Jon should know because he was there. Bylaw was able to pull him back from the abyss. The Irrevenant Queen had taken him there, pulled him into the Dark Star to make him an avatar of a mad god. Bylaw tells him that it was probably foolish of him to get involved in that manner, but he knows Jon Stewart's will is strong, but it is too early to test it against an old god. Now, Jon doesn't really follow up on this besides asking if Bylaw is in fact an old god himself, asking what he did to be stuck here, and Bylaw says that he betrayed a brother. He did it for the sake of the universe, but no matter the reason, he had to face punishment. When it comes to what is on the other side of the Dark Star, it is endless berserkers, nightmare beasts, every one of them reborn every time the Dark Star flares. The Revenant Queen as well. When questioned if the Revenant Queen is still on the other side, Bylaw says that for the purposes of what they're doing, she is the other side. The ring she wears is the essence of Olgren's will. That is where the Dark Star was born from. And so Jon wonders if he went back into the Dark Star, was able to beat the Revenant Queen, get that ring from her, what happens then? Bylaw informs him that getting in there once and getting out alive, that's a miracle. It was a trick that Bylaw did, he can't do again. And Bylaw believes that he may be the one to get all these people back somewhere safe. But the Dark Star is her world. If Jon goes back there, he will fail. That the people that are depending on him, they will all die. This is when they are attacked. Jon telling everybody to get cover, he does everything he can to fight back against them. Telling everybody weapons free. They try to take down these monstrous creatures. From out of the Dark Star rode the glowing shades of 1,000 dead warriors, all at the whim of the mad god Olgren. They fought with great honor on the battlefield, but it came at great costs. Seeing the way that this battle is unfolding, Jon Stewart goes for it. Bylaw tells him not to do it, but Jon doesn't listen. As he cuts through one of these beasts, Jon Stewart heads directly for the Dark Star. As we close out with narration from the Book of Oa. The Knights of the Dark Star were the Malthusians' greatest sin. Their names were stricken from all records, though whispers had persisted. Eons later, when the controllers created their own forces of lawmakers, they named them Dark Stars, after the ancient warriors of legend. The endeavor, though short-lived, one of their members would go on to become a legend in his own right. And that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Definitely an interesting issue. It's always fun when we dive into some deep lore of an old god. Now, we kind of already know who Olgren is. The new gods have messed around with this. We've seen Superman mess around with Olgren. Even the super kids, they seem to be powered. At least one of them has the power of Olgren in some sense. But obviously, that is not the sole source or sole placement of Olgren's power. That his power seems to be spread out, that it's divided. I'm curious what happens if these powers come together. This story was really letting us know that before the Dark Stars, there were the Dark Star, the Knights of the Dark Star, which was more or less the first ever Lantern Corps to ever exist. that this is where the idea of lanterns come from to begin with. This would eventually lead into the Dark Stars, which was the early policing force before the Lanterns. This story is saying that the Knights of the Dark Star, this is the very beginning. This is where it really gets its roots at, where somebody decided to take some kind of precious stone, turn it into a tool to use as a weapon to defend in the name of order. But now John Stewart has gone into the Dark Star. He has gone to face against the Revenant Queen, to bring an end to this war one way or another. But does John have what it takes to go against an old god? Does he have what it takes to fight against the darkness? Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your theories. If you want to get caught up on everything that is going on with this series, go ahead, check out the link in my description as well as the top of this video. It's going to get you completely caught up on everything that is going on with Green Lantern War Journal. If you would like to support the channel, you can always do so by joining the channel membership, much like Patreon, having multiple different tiers, from $1 to $50, from loyalty badges to comics every single month. Not only is this helping out the channel tremendously, but you are getting tons of perks in the process. Now, if you're unable to do this, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, like this video, hit that notification bell, and with that being said, until the next breakdown.